Nick on the PBD pod. Let's go.
Your opinion of me. I'm Middle Eastern, married to a white girl. Or do you think it's better off for America to minimize more of me coming to America?
America's no longer America. Mass migration is changing what America is. And I want to conserve what America historically has always been.
Well, that's a little bit, that's a little bit harsh.
Well, I'm not in favor of interracial marriages. That's against my values. I want to have a white wife. I want to have white kids. That's important to me.
That's kind of racist.
I agree.
Okay.
But let's remember the context.
How bad is the video? Is it appropriate to just show?
You can pull it up, yeah.
Rob, can you pull it up? I'm actually curious on how bad the video is.
It's a funny search query. I'm not sorry because this is a political attack. This is how political control is maintained.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, you don't need to do it. Drop in the N-word. How is your approach going to change moving forward?
I don't think there's much that needs to change.
I've seen the tweets, I've seen the videos.
I don't platform trolls.
But how are you processing this?
I'm going to tell you the truth. I thought there were things about the memorial that were distasteful. I did not like him when he was alive. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, listen,
It looked like a WWE entrance.
Going to the dark side.
I wasn't wrong, was I, in my reaction?
No, you weren't wrong. Your gut was right.
Go watch the reaction we did to the Charlie Kirk funeral. Unc was saying something just ain't right about all this. But before we even get into this, I don't think this is gonna work in Nick's favor. I can already sense that. I feel like he's gonna look kind of dumb here for some reason. I don't know. I haven't even seen it yet. I don't know. But 100% Nick Fuentes hates PBD, and I think PBD hates Nick Fuentes. 100%. And I think this is gonna be interesting. So let's see what happens.
Okay, so we're finally doing this.
Yes, finally.
Yes. A lot of people are like, I don't think he's ever going to do it. Have him on. You shouldn't have him on, lawyers. Never have him on. This is not good.
Yo, just
Lawyers.
as a reminder, 𝐁𝐞𝐤 literally got banned on YouTube for having Nick on. Because this is before it was cool. I know a lot of you are just waking up right now. Congrats, welcome to the club. But 3 years ago when 𝐁𝐞𝐤 had him on, this is the reason that he got banned from YouTube.
And first of all, no one should ever be banned because that doesn't fix nothing. Us all getting to see what these people think and what they actually believe is the only way we can counter or push back against things that might be wrong morally, spiritually, legally. So this ban culture, this cancel culture needs to be done with once and for all. Free speech, First Amendment. I think this is a great environment. The podcast world has done a tremendous job protecting the First Amendment. People like Joe Rogan, the Podfather, PBD for the most part, has done a great job of having difficult conversations. And that's what needs to be had in this country. This is what a reformation looks like. We all sit down and say, I hate you. This is why I hate you. Well, maybe you shouldn't hate me because of that, because of this. And we sit down and we try to figure a way out of this crazy.
Well, we're supposed to be smart enough to hear two different perspectives and come to a conclusion on our own, but we're just a bunch of silly goyim at the end of the day who need to be told what to believe on the television, bro. I just saw a clip of Trump the other day bashing Muslims, and he was like, you don't believe me? Turn on your television, and we'll tell you what to believe.
But let me tell you, yesterday I'm at Charlie Kirk's memorial, obviously the late, great Charlie Kirk. I'm there, a couple comes up to me. Okay. And I'm standing next to Adam, and Vinny's there, and my two boys, Dylan and Tico, are there. This couple comes, can I take a picture with you? Yes, of course. We take a picture. And then the guy gets a little too close to me, a little bit uncomfortable, but he didn't seem like a weird guy. Mm-hmm. Hey, I don't know if you paid attention. He has stopped saying the N-word. Please have him on. I said, who are you talking about? He says, Nick has stopped saying the N-word. I said, no, he said it a lot a week ago. I said, no, he slowed down. He actually reacted. I said, well, we're going to have a conversation. I said, you're probably the first to know that we're having a conversation, and then obviously you're here. Appreciate you for coming out and making the time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Nick, I don't know much about you except for the clips I've seen, respectfully. To me, the way I've made my money over the last, 25 years in insurance and finance was watching who has talent. And I would watch somebody, I would say, this guy's got what it takes, right? First time I had Charlie Kirk on at 23 years old, I said, there's something very special about this guy. At 23, I came to my insurance company. I said, this guy's going to be the president one day. Watch this guy closely. First time I watched Tucker, unbelievable talent. When you watch him, humor, sarcasm, intelligence, pushing back, subtle. He's making fun of you. You don't know it. The audience knows it. He knows the art. Candace, talent. Dave Smith, talent. We used to have a comedian working here called Marcelo Hernandez, who is now on SNL. I don't know if you know who he is or not. Oh, incredible. Yeah. He used to produce Adam's show. And I said, this guy's going to do something special. Now he's on SNL. Vinny, talent. I see you, the way you communicated. Very, very talented. Very capable, very talented. And I've expressed this before on the show before. But I want...
What do you think Mossad thinks seeing PBD bring Nick on? Literally, what, 2 weeks after having Netanyahu on?
They don't like it.
There's no way they like it.
No, would you if someone's going against your...
The ADL is very, very anti-free speech. They were always trying to shut any opposing viewpoints down. Crazy lobby they
I
are.
want to know a little bit more about how you became who you are today. And then we'll cover a lot of different topics. So go to high school, 14 years old, who was Nick Fuentes?
Well, at 14
I was a
years
Mexican.
Old, I was already very political.
I mean, he has
Been
Mexican blood,
political
does he not?
since Really, I was 12 years
Yeah, but I don't think it really matters, bro.
I know, but you're not white.
He is white.
How? How can you have Mexican
If you're
blood?
like a quarter Mexican and the rest of you is from Western Europe, you're still white. I mean, look at bro. I don't even think there's an objective term for what white actually is. Up until 60 years ago,
I think it's man-made.
you were Italian, you were Irish, you were Swedish. You weren't white. You know what I mean? Like my grandmother got married to an Irish guy, and her parents nearly kicked her out of the house because of that.
And
Because you're like betraying your race.
Yeah, but first of all, that whole concept is a joke too, if you think about it. Because in Europe, all they did was kill each other, and they were the same race, quote unquote. France and England, back and forth, the Irish, the Scottish, and they can kill us, but they were all white, right? So clearly, race wasn't enough to unify anybody. Same thing in Africa. They're wiping each other out left and right. They were black.
The only commonality you would have is skin color.
So, but it's not enough to hold
Anything together.
Yeah, so it hasn't hold anything together. So the concept of being proud of one race or the other is a joke. And races have killed each other left and right. Look at Asians, Japanese and China and what they did to them in World War I. And we can go on and on and on. So race really is a joke. It's not nothing to be proud of. Like you can't, like what I don't understand about Nick Fuentes, you claim to be a Christian. The story of how we were all created is very similar to what we believe as Muslims and Jews, that God created Adam and Eve, and all the children of Adam and Eve were all the colors of the earth, right? So when you are pro one race or another, you're automatically no longer a follower of God, in my opinion, because you're saying you know better than the creator, than God that created all these races, that your race is superior to another one, or vice versa. And it's not. That is arrogance, which is what led to us being on this earth and led to all these problems in tribalism and nationalism.
And it's the same exact sin that led to the devil going to hell. Arrogance.
Exactly. Dividing the children of Adam into different groups and categories by race, by color, by language. And we've been killing each other ever since. So all of this nationalism, racism only benefits one, and that is the devil, to take as many of our fellow brothers and sisters in humanity to hell with him, bro.
And bro, at the end of the day, on Judgment Day, your nationalism, how you would do anything for the flag, or you would do anything for your skin color, it's not protecting you when you're facing the Creator.
No.
God doesn't care that you put America before everything else.
Before humanity.
Look at all these guys throughout history, 100,000 years, not 100,000, 1,500 years ago that died for their country and not for their actual beliefs.
50 years ago, 60 years ago.
You don't even remember their country's name anymore.
World War I, World War II, World War III, all these countries that don't even exist anymore. They just keep changing. So,
and that's it.
It's the illusion of being proud of something that's not even permanent. It's temporary.
Yep.
Everything keeps changing. Languages keep changing. Nationalities keep changing. Nations keep changing.
Why is that?
Well, I just started to develop an interest in politics. There were a lot of political conversations happening due to the rise of Obama, actually, in 2008, 2012. And I wanted to know basically everything about it. You know, when you turn around that age, you start to ask questions about the world and how we all got here and, you know, about things that happened before. And so the first thing I ever watched, actually, was Thomas Sowell on Uncommon Knowledge with, I think,
the best, one of the
Peter
best.
Robinson. Yeah, they're both excellent, from the Hoover Institute. And that was actually the first thing I ever watched. I just devoured it. I devoured everything.
At 12.
Yeah, 12, 13, 14.
Who introduced you to Thomas Sowell?
I just Googled it. A buddy of mine in school was telling me about the private sector. I said, what is the private sector? You know, what is the economy? And so I just Googled it on YouTube, and that was the first thing that came up. And I watched the whole thing, and it was just, I was enamored by it. And I told my mom, I said, I want Free to Choose by Milton Friedman. That was the first political book I ever read. And one day I came home from school and it was there on my bed, and I read it.
First book is Free to Choose.
Yes.
Capitalism, free market capitalism, and he was. It's really him and Thomas Sowell. I think he came before Thomas did, right?
He did, yes.
Right.
Yeah, well, he was from the Chicago school. So it was Friedman, Sowell, and all the others. And so I read all that stuff in middle school and high school. And at that time, I was really a libertarian because that's just what was out there at that time. That was during the Ron Paul Revolution.
And the Fed.
Right, and the Fed. And there was so much online digital content, this is early 2010s, that was being put out by young libertarians. So that's just what was out there and what was available. And so I worked through all of it. Basic Economics by Thomas Sowell, and read about all the Chicago school, even then the Austrian school, the really more libertarian economic stuff. And in high school, I was in Model UN, student council, speech team. I was very active in high school and, one of those precocious, autodidact type young guys. And
were you like this? Were you this vocal?
Oh, yeah.
Were you this intense?
Yes.
So did you get in trouble a lot? Did you get in a lot of fights? Did you get picked on? Did you have bullies?
I was very outspoken. I was very extroverted about politics. I was always getting in political debates in class and in Model UN, but I didn't really get in trouble as much. What's really funny, this might interest you actually, and I've talked about this before, but when I was in Model UN, I was one of the best guys on the team. I would win first place every week. And because if you don't know Model United Nations, you simulate the United Nations General Assembly or the different committees. And it's like role play. It's like a role play game, but for the United Nations. And anyway, so I was one of the better guys on the team. And my junior year of high school, I became the head of the team. I became the secretary general of the team. But I had a major falling out with the guy that ran the team. He was ethnically Arab, I think, extremely pro-Palestine. And I, at that time, was very pro-Israel. I was on Prager University and Breitbart, and so I downloaded all the dogma from the conservative movement at that time. And so I remember we were sitting in the study hall one day, and they had all the flags of the world hanging.
That's basically how everyone is.
It's called indoctrination, but go ahead.
Yeah, the propaganda got to literally everyone. All the biggest conservative influencers. I was affected by it as well. I don't know how much you were.
Absolutely.
Get back.
Get back. I said get back.
Up on the ceiling, and I said, why do we have the Iranian flag hanging up? I said, they're the #1 state sponsor of terrorism in the world. It shouldn't be up. And he told me, you got to read The Israel Lobby by John Mearsheimer and Stephen Walt. He said, you got to look at the other side. And we had this like vicious back and forth about it. And that is kind of the only major problem I had with faculty over politics, ironically. Now,
so he was faculty. Okay, so you're there, you're getting into these debates in junior year, and then Trump announces, and then what do you do?
So after Trump announced, this is right around the time, he announced in June 2015. And so I was very political, obviously super engaged with the election. And at that time, so this was going into my senior year of high school, I had a radio show on the high school radio station and a TV show on the high school TV station. I did both. And one of my first shows I've ever done in my whole life was talking about the election. And that was a very crowded primary. It was like 17 candidates. I don't know if you remember back then. Mm-hmm. It was Trump and his huge
everybody,
field. Yeah, it was everybody. And
I told you I've met Nick a couple times, right?
No.
Yeah.
Were you guys at a Klux meeting or a Ku Klux Klan meeting?
This is like a year and a half ago in Miami. We got dinner, me, him, Sneeko, and a couple other guys. And then we went to go play soccer, like a 15-minute walk away. So we walked there. And while everyone else was playing, me and Nick had like a 30-minute conversation one-on-one. It was honestly cool. When we were talking in person, it was good. I remember the most notable thing that we talked about was I asked him, is this, stuff with the people who control us, is it just biblical at the end of the day? And he said, potentially, yeah. Like it's just meant to be that they're supposed to control us. It's just part of the test, which I thought was interesting.
So I went.
But we got along in person. Bro, at the end of the day, and then the thing is after, I was public about accepting Islam.
He started attacking you.
Yeah, I mean, his followers attacked me really hard.
You're washing your feet. You're a race traitor.
Yeah. His followers attacked me really, really hard.
Does that mean you can only be of his faith if you're white?
I'll get into that.
I mean, how does that make sense?
But then he also went on stream and he was saying like, yeah, that guy's is this, and he was supporting all the defenders and attacked me a bit. What are you gonna do, bro, at the end of the day? But yeah, I mean, the whole idea of being a race traitor for accepting a different religion is retarded at the end of the day. I think it makes
your religion look really weak, and that's not the way God made faith for all people. So I think when you're talking like this, you're not representing your faith to a good level.
I would never see someone leave Islam and then get called a race traitor.
I've never seen it either.
That makes no sense, bro. Yeah. Even only 18% of the world's Muslims are Arab.
19%.
19%?
Give or take a few hundred million.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was everybody. And so I went through all the candidates, and initially I was very anti-Trump because I was a libertarian. So I was in it for Rand Paul and then Ted Cruz. And it wasn't until April or March 2016, about 7 months in to my senior year, that I really went in hard for Trump. And Trump, I would say, is the one who red-pilled me, quote unquote. He's
of all these guys, these are the guys we're looking at, right?
Right.
That was a Jeb Bush started with $140 million. He was supposed to win it. Carson had a little.
These guys are all cucks.
Losers, dude.
Marco Rubio is the biggest cuck in the world,
Rand
dude.
Paul, I like him, bro.
He's cool.
Yeah, Rand Paul's
Chris Christie, this dude.
His dad was cool too, bro.
I don't think he's seen his P. Shadell in 20 years.
Momentum.
Lindsey
Cruz was
Graham.
one of the guys that people thought could do something.
Right.
Nobody thought Trump up until I think Ann Coulter's like, who do you think today is going to win? And she made the comment that I think is going to be Trump on Bill Maher. Everybody starts laughing.
Right.
Okay, so you're in this moment. Trump red pills you first.
Yes. He red pills me on immigration, really, because at that time, I am preoccupied with this notion of individualism. Very much like you. I mean, a lot of the stuff you say in your show, I agree with you 100%. I guess he reoriented my perspective about individualism, because what I started to understand is that, you remember, in 2015, it felt like the left was unstoppable. It felt like Obama.
You know what else is funny about immigration is how whatever group came to the U.S. throughout time, for the first 10 to 20 years they were here, they were always the bottom of the barrel in America. They were the scum that got spit on. When the Irish came, they were called horrible names. When the Italians came, they were persecuted and called horrible names. And now those immigrants just happen to be brown because they're the only ones willing to do the hard work. White people don't want to do any of the hard work anymore. It's very rare. Was that the same with Albanians when they came? What happened? What'd you guys get called?
Nothing, because we can pull out AK-47, bro. Nobody called us shit, bro. They learned the hard way when they with us, bro. It's the truth. I'm like, we didn't really go through anything, bro. we struggled as poor people when we came here, but no one really with us, dude.
There probably also wasn't as many of you guys as the Irish and the Italians.
Yeah, no, not in the beginning. But I was just thinking about like how I used to believe we actually have a vote and we might have a chance and maybe someone can do something better. And you know, the first time I ever voted was for Obama, thinking, hey, if I vote for this guy, maybe all this racism and hatred can stop. But you know, realizing how the world works, realizing that it's the choice between Coke or Pepsi, realizing that really our vote means shit when it comes to war and destroying the world and hatred and Islamophobia and all this shit. It really doesn't matter who you vote for. They're printing money like crazy. And I don't think we have a vote anymore. I really at this point, I believe it does not even matter anymore.
Did you vote in the last election?
No.
Neither did I.
No.
And
I gave him a shot because he said he's not going to do no more war, which he kind of did. But at this point, bro, I mean, if I had to vote, I would always vote towards the right now, just because they're not pushing chop your kids' off. That's literally the only. But like I said, they're giving you a crumb while they do all the other shit that's horrible.
The lesser of two evils,
I would choose right every time.
Is still deadly.
Yeah.
You know?
Lesser of two evils, I would have to choose right now compared to ideology, where they are with chopping your piece of Shadell off, how old you can be in the stomach to take a baby out. Like, I can't support that shit.
I got into a really big feud with family this year about how I wasn't voting. I was.
You have a vote, Coke or Pepsi? Which one do you want to drink?
Yeah.
You want Coke or Pepsi?
It's the same shit, man. Like, anyone that's still so adamant about one of these political figures that's going to come and save the day and bring back free speech. That was one of the arguments I had with my parents. They were like, Trump's coming to bring back free speech. He's coming to fix it.
How about the Q people?
Bro, you guys are so ignorant.
They thought he was Jesus, man.
They
literally thought he was a tall orange Jesus that we're going to have military tribunals. They're going to round them all up. They're going to restore the republic. You're going to see executions. They're already... Bro, that was wild what was going on online, bro. Some of this shit did come true, though. Like save a certain country for last.
Yep.
You know, I make a tweet about the double standard on Israel, and Shapiro's amplifying that. I have a show, and someone's calling my boss saying, get this guy fired. Maybe they're collaborating with the left to get me fired. Up to and including strangers that I don't even really know are secretly recording me, setting me up. The point is, they made a decision, this guy's got to go, and they said, we're going to use in a careless remark to take the guy out. So, you know, people see, here's a guy that said a bad thing.
I don't support that.
And and I'm not saying you do. I'm just explaining that's the side that a lot of people don't see. They see the bad remark. They don't see the calculation.
And that's why I'm having these questions with you. And by the way,
that.
I wish this podcast existed, because I don't know if there's one where someone's asking you for people to know, how did you become the way you became?
Exactly.
That's why I wanted to take this approach with you. But let me go here and hold you accountable a little bit. And again, feel free to push back. I'm comfortable with it. You're 27. You're no longer 18.
True.
So when you go a week ago and you're like, you don't need to do it. Here's why you don't need to do it. Dropping the N-word. Some of the words that you drop. I don't mind the F word, shit and all this stuff. I drop it all the time. I try not to drop it on camera, but I'm also not sitting here telling you I walk on water. And I say all the words, and I listen to hardcore hip hop. I listened to a lot of hardcore hip hop growing up. That was my taste of music. I don't know if it was yours. It was for me.
That was our generation, though.
For a person who knows how to communicate as well as you do, when you use those words, you get an average person to question your intelligence. And you don't need to do that. You're above that. You're so talented. Why go there? Now, if you tell me, Pat, I'm just doing it because I don't want anybody like you to tell me that I can shut up because I've gone through them. Fair, fine. You want to do that. I would just say, I want to show you something. Rob, can you pull up you ever read the book Power versus Force?
No.
Okay. So this book, Power versus Force, I read it like 23 years ago. I was 23 years old when I read it. Yeah, it had a very, very big impact on my life. The guy breaks it down on what types of leaders eventually get to a certain level of consciousness that they gain power naturally and they truly become a positive force to the world. Like, I believe Charlie's a positive force to the world. To me, I had, believe it or not, Charlie at number one spot. He's my
what side of the world? Because for 1/5 of the world, Charlie was alienating them, justifying Islamophobia, justifying violence, justifying invasions, justifying violence, justifying hatred. And the fact that there's even memes where Charlie Kirk is put into a... Please pull up the meme, bro. Pull it up.
What's he do?
The fact that you could even put up Charlie Kirk, JFK, and Martin Luther King meme. Like, have you lost your minds? Have you lost your minds? These are men that operated from a place of respect. These are men that have operated from a place of love. These are men that lost their lives bringing people together. Charlie Kirk became famous by pitting people against each other. Okay? The fact you would even put Charlie Kirk's picture next to JFK and Martin Luther King is a desecration to those men. The only thing they got in common is they each caught a bullet in their head.
Yeah.
Okay? For their beliefs, yeah, they have that in common. But they were not the same caliber of man. You can't compare Charlie Kirk to JFK Jr. and to Martin Luther King. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking stupid?
Yeah.
Okay, the guy was spewing hatred against a world faith. 1/5 of the world is Muslim. Okay, he was no MLK. He was no JFK. Period.
And
did he get killed for his beliefs? Yes. That's the only thing he has in common. But the type of energy that Charlie Kirk had, you can't even put them in the same planet, let alone the same room. It's a desecration to the memory of Dr. King and JFK, bro. Sorry.
And a big reason JFK was killed was because he was also trying to make AIPAC register as a foreign agent. So
you just want to get the channel nuked, I guess.
What are you going to do?
But they're going to be scrubbing all these fucking channels, bro. Like, stop already. I keep fucking telling you every episode. You want the channel to last or no?
Do you want them to cut this?
No, but I keep telling you, there is no fucking free speech when it comes to online. There is no free speech, bro. They're gonna fucking shadow. They're gonna we're gonna lose the fucking channel, bro. People can read themselves and find. If they want the truth, they don't need me to tell them. They don't need you to tell them. They don't need Patrick Bet-David to tell them. They don't need Nick Fuentes to tell them. And there's a reason why God, the first word He commanded the prophet to say, even though he couldn't himself, read. God gave you a brain. Go out there. You can see the truth yourself. Most of you have been preconditioned with bias and this and that and hatred. Go form your own opinions, man. Well, go absorb the different sides. And that's why what we do is important, to show the different sides and judge what the truth is. But you don't need Charlie Kirk. You don't need Beck. You don't need Sonny. You don't need PBD. God gave you a brain, a mouth, a heart. And if you can't feel other people's pain and suffering, I got a news flash for you. You're a sick human being. You have serious fucking problems. Something happened to you. Either a wounded child, you experienced trauma, or you have destroyed your own soul through drinking and dancing and fucking. And so if you can't feel for anyone else, there's something wrong with you. I have a news flash for you.
Where's this point going?
You're losing in life. You're losing spiritually. You're losing in every capacity.
Where's this point going? How did you get to this?
Bro, people are fucking dumb, dude. My God, how did that get stupid?
How did you
I don't know, bro.
I don't even know how your brain got to that.
Well, you explain to me how they're going to compare Charlie Kirk to Dr. King. Does that make sense?
No, it doesn't make sense.
It's disrespectful.
I just think it's funny how the exact group that Charlie Kirk is subservient to is the one that JFK tried to protect this country from. That's all that's funny.
And may have,
and then you're gonna compare the two guys. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Get out of here with that. That's insane. I couldn't even find the meme, but there's one where they're all like on Mount Rushmore together or some shit. Like,
well, we get the point. This has been the post all week.
Yeah.
You can't
number
compare.
one draft pick. If I'm building a super team, he's my number one guy. No one was above Charlie, and there's a lot of guys. Okay, no one. I respect all of them. I think they're very capable.
I'll give it to him. He was the GOAT at debating transgenders on college campuses.
Yeah.
And he was very anti-abortion. I do have a lot of respect for that as well.
Yeah, there was a lot we agreed with.
100%.
But his views of the rest of the world? Absolutely not.
Yeah, just the divisiveness. It's just, there's no point to it, man.
But
Judeo-Christian. Okay.
Charlie was
No
unique
such thing.
because of one specific reason. In this thing, he explains where if you look at all the way to, you see the third row where it says level.
Mm-hmm.
So go all the way down to the level. You see where it says shame.
Mm-hmm.
So shame. Like I have relatives who are driven by shame. They're so tough to be around. They're living a tough life. That's not you. Guilt. I can't believe what I did 10 years ago. And they keep reliving this guilt. It's not you. Apathy. It's not you. Grief. That's not you.
Yo, I'll tell you this. Whenever I sin, and now since I accepted Islam, I stopped telling people to sin. And then if I combine that with a prayer to help me forget my sin, I actually forget it, bro. I feel guilty for a sin for maybe a day or two, and then I move on from it and I don't think about it anymore. But when you go around, you're telling everyone about it, and then it's making it more likely for them to do it, so then it'll rehash up on you, and then you're likely to do it again, and now it's in the back of your mind more compared to if you just do it, you don't tell a soul about it, you move on, and you pray to forget it.
What kind of sins are we talking about?
Doesn't matter what. Doesn't even matter what sin. Any sin.
Fear. I don't think that's you. Desire. I don't know if that's you. Anger, pride, maybe. I was probably a fear, desire, women, and I was the one that wasn't as disciplined as you. I was very undisciplined when it came down to women. I just couldn't stop it. That was my vice that I had. It wasn't video games, it wasn't porn, it wasn't gambling, it was women. So then you go to anger, pride, right? Pride. Screw you, you know. Okay. No.
I do think a lot of America could use a lot more guilt and shame, though.
Yeah, if you don't feel shame, you're not going to correct your action. Yeah.
Right. Then comes courage. That's the first level of consciousness where you're entering. I think you have it. You have the courage.
You know, it's really funny. It's like Muslims and Christians are on the opposite end of the spectrum. I feel like the Muslims are too hard and annoying about the stuff that's really not that deep at the end of the day.
Brother
music, brother this, brother that.
People being blown up.
Crying about little things. And then Christians are on the opposite end of that spectrum where their women are dancing on TikTok with the cross between their boobs and they don't get any backlash for that.
Videos doing graphic acts with the cross on their necks. It's disgusting.
Yeah. So it's like they're both on the opposite ends. And I think that sweet spot is a little bit more in the middle.
Well, the prophet said we're a people of the middle.
Yeah, exactly.
Be a people of not extremes, in the middle. Be in the green, basically. I like the green right there.
That's a big reason why I condemned everyone that was celebrating the death. The prophet wouldn't go around celebrating and dancing on people's graves because he didn't get along with them or they were his enemy. That's still another soul at the end of the day. And that's going to judgment. Yeah. And the prophet, he saw hell, right? Didn't he see what it was like there? Bro, imagine you saw hell. I don't care who your enemy is. You should still have some compassion that they're going there forever. That's awful, man.
And never get out.
Especially because he's supposed to be the guidance for all of humanity. So that's like another soul that slipped through his fingers, you know?
Exactly. That's the point. That's exactly the point, bro. And I've said it in a different way, but that's exactly the point. It's that whether it be Jesus, Abraham, Muhammad, peace be upon him, they came for their flock. Noah of the ark, right? Had to watch the entire world get wiped out because he preached for 950 years. And not a single person accepted that there's God, right? They were evil. So if you put yourself in the mindset of the deliverers of God's message, they don't want to see a single person go to hell, no matter how evil. They had sympathy even for their enemies because they knew where they were going to go, what it was going to be like for the rest of eternity. Done.
No, I thought it was like 80. Yeah. Some narrations say about 80 people.
Okay, but compared to everybody, it's nothing.
No, I agree. Over 950 years, but I'm just clarifying.
Yeah, the courage to share there's a lot of risk in sharing your opinion. But then you go to neutrality, and then you have, which is, let me hear both sides out, and let me see what's going on. Then you're willing to speak to everybody. I actually think you're willing to speak to anybody. I wouldn't say you're not willing to speak to anybody. And then
I'm not going to lie.
That we're different.
I know we skipped through a lot of this because it's been rough, but I kind of like this conversation that they're having. I kind of feel like PBD step in here in like a fatherly role. He's actually trying to give him some good advice. PBD is definitely one of the GOATs in podcasting. There's no doubt about it. I'm not crazy about some of his takes and some of the guests he's had on. But again,
That's the same with everyone.
Yeah, I will support everyone, even the worst of the worst, coming on a show and sitting down and getting to hear what they're going to try to justify or what they're going to say. Silencing anybody doesn't help the world become a better place. So I kind of like this like older brother. He's like you're very talented. I do think it's very stupid for Nick to be dropping the N-word at that level. Like, why? But he's also using that type of hatred to grow his audience. Let's be real, bro. Let's be real.
Yeah, no. Those clips with him saying the N-word, like, those go super viral on
Who's
Instagram.
the biggest N now? You know? Let him go say that shit in Philly.
I'm the realist. Yeah.
Let him go to, he can't go to certain neighborhoods in Chicago.
Whatever, but maybe it's because I'm a bit younger, but I don't know. It's whatever.
And then he got love. I actually believe Charlie was at Reason and Love. And I don't think anybody else in the...
He thinks Charlie was up here, Reason and Love.
Charlie was at Reason and Love.
I want to go with, I want to think that, honestly, I think Charlie Kirk was preconditioned. I think he was fed certain information, especially from the Christian right wing, that Muslims are evil and they're this and that, and then 9/11, like all. So, do I think he's a person that operated from like hatred? No, I don't think he was as bad as Nick Fuentes as far as that's concerned. But to mock people, they throw people off buildings, there's none left in Gaza, and you stupid Muslims, like, that's not disrespectful to 1/5 of the world, bro?
No, it's obviously disrespectful.
Okay, when we all know how these wars started and why they've been going on and false pretenses in Iraq, like, seriously, bro?
You know,
like, seriously, bro? Were the Muslims stupid when they were the first country in the world to give America a port? You know how important it was to have
Morocco,
ports?
right?
Do you know how important, still the longest strategic alliance America has? Do you know how important it was in the infancy of a nation to have international ports for trade, bro? First country to recognize the U.S.?
Morocco, right?
So it's like, you know, it's just mad disrespectful. Charlie Kirk was extremely hateful when it came to Muslims. Very disrespectful. Again, to compare him to Dr. King or JFK, you're a fucking asshole. I'm sorry. He's not on their level. He'll never be. They're the GOATs, bro.
What was I going to say? Oh, I was going to say, dude, I feel like Muslims really overuse the word kafir.
Yeah.
Because the word kafir means someone that knows it's the truth and then they still reject it. And they spread falsehood also on top of that. I don't know if that also is...
It's great yogurt, though. Kefir yogurt, I love it.
Unnecessary for that word. But I just watched... what's his name? The Dean Show. I just watched Eddie from the Dean shows.
Yeah, what's up with the Dean Show, dude?
No, what do you mean what's up with him?
I think we'd have a great conversation. My brother's Bosnian.
Let me finish my point, though.
I'm Albanian. Like, what's up? What's up? Tag the Dean Show. Tell him Beck Lovers, like, what's up?
He'll have you on. I can text him, bro.
I want an excuse to go to Chicago and go to Maple and Ash Steakhouse, bro.
Okay. But when Eddie from the Dean Show, he was actually talking with Charlie Kirk.
Love his work, by the way.
Damn, bro.
Good.
Damn. I'm glad you just oh, have me on. Love his work. Okay, bro. I can text him for you. I know him and his son, bro. I can get you on. Chill out.
I want them to want me. It's like, yo, I'm gonna hook you up with a girl. No, I want the girl to want me, bro.
He's not on his phone like that. He doesn't know this stuff. Yeah. But he was talking with Charlie Kirk, and his impression was that Charlie just really didn't know much about Islam, bro. If you're around a lot of those evil people that were funding him nonstop, bro, I'm not gonna lie. Like, a lot of you guys haven't dealt with them. They have like this weird power.
Hold. It's like, yeah.
Have you noticed that too? Yeah. They have like a really weird hold on you.
Right after October 7th.
Yeah.
I must have received 1,000 messages from every single Jewish person I know.
Yeah.
And I wasn't even being critical. I was like, actually, like, this is horrible what happened. Please don't overreact. Of course, a lot of people died. And they were just all right away. Like, it was like hive mentality, but literally that's why they operate the way they do, like killer bees. I'm like, yo, take it easy. Take it easy. I got family that's Jewish. Best friends that are Jewish. You know, my people saved them. My family was a part of the royal family, which saved a lot of Jews in Albania. I don't ever speak in terms of hatred or alienating or, you know, that's why I was saying you what happened to me in LA, bro. Like,
bro, finish your point, please.
My point is, it's like they all attack you at the same time just for having a different opinion than what they said. I'm like, yo, I don't like what your government is doing. I don't like how you guys have been treating these people for a very long fucking time. And it's undeniable. Everybody knows the truth now. So, you know, no angels in this. You didn't just come there and peacefully come there. It wasn't the Muslims that kicked you out of Jerusalem. It wasn't the Muslims that destroyed your temples. It was the Romans. It was the Christians and their ancestors. It had nothing to do with the Muslims. We actually brought you back. So start with facts. And why am I responding? Doesn't make me anti-Jewish. You're the ones taking my religion, Laura Loomer, a religion that protected your people, and using it to justify what you're doing today. You should be ashamed of yourselves. You're not going to lie forever. And this doesn't go to all Jews. This goes to these extremists. Laura Loomer's an extremist. Charlie Kirk was an extremist because he was propping up that ideology and dehumanizing one of the largest faiths in the world, bro.
Yeah, but to get back to the initial point, I do think they really did just have a grip on him from a really young age.
Yeah, they did. They groomed him probably.
Yeah.
And those political movements, absolutely, they groomed you. Oh, this kid's going to be a rising star. That's probably why they have debate class in schools. Okay, who's going to be the next good speaker? It starts there. Dude.
No, they do. That is what they do.
Yeah, you win a competition.
They groomed them from a young age. That's what all these organizations are for, bro.
Like basically, we play basketball, make it to college,
Bro, that's
college NBA. Debate in high schools. What's going to be the next, all-star of politics? We're going to get this kid young,
dude. If Charlie and Turning Point USA turned on Israel, that would have been the biggest blow that they would have gotten yet.
They would have lost the
Candace Owens, she's waking up more of like the older demographic. Some people your age that still watch her instead of the mainstream media. Tucker Carlson's waking that group up a bit. But if Turning Point changed, that would have been the final domino, bro. It would have been it. And over the most important demographic, the young masculine youth. Would have been GG's, man. W broadcast. Thank you guys so much for watching. Drop a comment if you want more. That's it from us.
Peace.